The Shark Deck.
Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. So I just got back from a 13-mile run, humble brag. And as I was running, I was listening to TV's Top 5 podcast, which is a podcast by the Hollywood Reporter. One of the hosts there, my favorite TV critic, is Daniel Feinberg. And he mentioned that the Hollywood Reporter did a top 50 TV shows of the 21st century. And he mentioned the top 5, and in it was a comedy. And I went, ooh, really? I didn't react well to it. I'll tell you what it is in a second. So I decided here I'm going to talk about the list. I haven't looked at the full list, but I'll talk about the comedies on the list, and then we'll get into the other news. There's stuff about Saturday Night Live and Roy Wood Jr., and I need to finish that variety list, so I probably have too much for a Sunday, which is a good problem to have. Oh, and look, I just went to the Hollywood Reporter story and I see something I hadn't seen previously. Bob Odenkirk talks end of writer strike at 25,000 fan lunch with David Cross. That's going to be in tomorrow's podcast, friends. From the Hollywood Reporter, the critics picked the 50 best TV shows of the 21st century. So far, I will focus on the comedies. I'll tell you what the others are, because I know you're curious. They explain on the website how they got into it. I'll let them do it. And I'm going to go from 1 to 50, because that's what I'm reacting to. So now I have to do their whole website backwards and scroll up. They put it number 1, Mad Men. We could talk about that on a different podcast. Good choice. Sopranos at 2. Succession at 3. 30 Rock, the 4th greatest show of the 21st century. No. Now, is this list the most overrated sitcoms of the 21st century? Then 30 Rock probably should be number 1. I defy you. Watch this show, minus the scenes Alec Baldwin is in. He carried that show. No, this is not the 4th best show of the 21st century. The Hollywood Reporter writes, cynical Hollywood satires are practically as old as Hollywood itself, but few are the hilariously self-immolating setups that also underscore the good importance of mentorship, Tina Fey's scrappy, surreal, and sublime NBC comedy, blah, blah, blah. But the platonic chemistry between Fey and Alec Baldwin transforms the clever joke machine into a treatise on professional growth and leadership. No. Let's see what else is on their list. 5, The Wire. 6, Reservation Dogs. I know Daniel Feinberg loves that show. Daniel, I can't roll with you on this list. 7, Better Call Saul, ahead of Breaking Bad. Interesting. 8, Girls. 9, Freaks and Geeks. 10, BoJack Horseman. I know people who love BoJack Horseman, but no. The Daily Show at number 11. Currently doesn't have a host. 12, The Americans. Good choice. 13, 30 for 30. 14, Enlightened. Again, I'm trying to read to you about comedies. 15, Atlanta. Breaking Bad at 16. Halt and Catch Fire at 17. Friday Night Lights, 18. Rectify, 19. Peep Show. Oh, awesome choice. You've heard me talk about Peep Show. I mentioned it just this week. Not on a regular, not on a streaming service where you can just hit click and watch what you want. It's on those other ones, the Tubies and the Fubos and all those. It's streaming, so you just have to catch one. The Hollywood Reporter writes, before Succession was the funniest nihilistic tale about a family that slowly destroys each other, Peep Show was the funniest nihilistic tale about a pair of best friends that slowly destroy each other. That's Robert Webb and David Mitchell. If you've never seen Peep Show, treat yourself. It is amazing. All right, Deadwood at 21. Better Things, 22. Survivor at 23. And let me just skim here and find the comedies. Review at 25. Really? I like Andy Daly. That seems a little high. Parks and Rec at 27. By the way, I know because I listen to their podcast, The Office is not on this list, but Parks and Rec is. Are you kidding me? They write, even by the sunny standards of the Mike Schur-averse, Parks and Rec's determined optimism stands out. Amy Poehler's Leslie Knope is a small-time bureaucrat. We know this, blah, blah, blah. But then, as now, the potency of its uplift lies in its insistence on acknowledging rather than ignoring real problems. And The Office is not on this list. 28. How To with John Wilson. I've heard people talking about this one recently. I've never seen it, so I can't judge it one way or another. Have you seen How To with John Wilson? Tell me in the Facebook group, Daily Comedy News Podcast group. 29, Broad City. Nice show. 29th best show of the century. I don't know. Ahead of Game of Thrones at 30. Yeah. No, just no. 31 is Fleabag. Veep at 32. Again, just looking for comedies here. Although they do have Chernobyl on the list and The Shield. Those are 35 and 36, 2 of my faves. HBO's The Deuce at 39. Are you kidding me with this list? Bourdain made 43. Okay. Not too many comedies on here, folks. South Side at 48. There's no show post 30 Rock that quite captures its absurdist, Easter eggy, frenetic joke machine brilliance more than the criminally underdiscussed gem South Side, the funniest sitcom you've probably never heard of. Wow. So yeah, know The Office and know anything else I didn't mention. All right, let's get to the news. Roy Wood Jr. announced, Daily Show, I'm out of here. Roy Wood Jr. told NPR, I can't come up with Plan B while still working with Plan A. The job of correspondent, it's not really one where you can juggle multiple things, and I think 8 years is a good run. The Daily Show will be back on October 16th. They'll have a new host then. Roy said he isn't interested in watching the series find someone else for the gig while he's working as a correspondent. Totally get it, man. Totally get it. But if the network were interested in him taking over the reins, you'd think about it. He said, if you're offered the chance to host The Daily Show at any point in your life, you have to stop for a second and consider that. The next question becomes, what does The Daily Show look like in 24, and what does late night look like in 24? All right, so if Roy's off the list and Hassan kind of blew it, who's the front runner now for this gig? A spokesperson for The Daily Show said, Roy Wood Jr. is a comedic genius and a beloved teammate. His insights and hilarity helped us make sense of the 2016 election, the pandemic, and countless hours of Fox News. We thank him for his time with us. Can't wait to see what he does next. Sam Morrell tweeted, too bad. Roy is a comic's comic. He would have made the show funny to both sides. A guy from Alabama who hit the road hard and lives in New York. He understands how to connect. I'm not surprised Comedy Central is making a huge mistake. A smarter network will give him a show. Wow. Saturday Night Live. See, I didn't swallow the tea there for once and do my usual Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live, back October 14th. First host, Pete Davidson. Should we run a side pool as to whether or not that actually happens, or if Pete winds up in a caper and has to reschedule? I'm going to bet $25 on caper. Let's see what happens. I'm rooting for you, Pete, but I also want to win $25. Pete had been slated to host back in May. Then there was this whole writer strike thing you probably heard of. Musical guest Ice Spice. On the following week, Bad Bunny will host and be the musical guest. Usually this time of year, minus a month ago, there's a writer strike. You might have heard about it. There's like all kinds of things about cast changes. The entire cast is back, and they've added Chloe Trost as a featured player. She happens to co-star in Please Don't Destroy's The Treasure of Foggy Mountain, written by and starring the SNL writers Martin Hurley, John Higgins, and Ben Marshall, who are Please Don't Destroy. Double. Variety wrote, here are 5 things to know about the newest face on Saturday Night Live. This is Chloe Trost. Number 1, she's a New Jersey native currently based in Brooklyn. She's from Hohokus. Okay. Number 2, she's collaborated with fellow SNL cast members, Please Don't Destroy guys. Let's do a triple. She co-hosts a weekly New York comedy show called Cherry. That's at the Public Hotel in New York. Cherry features a wide variety of comedians every Friday at 8. She's been named one of Just for Laughs' new faces of comedy this year in 2023. Oh, that reminds me. Should I sidebite here? Yes, before I forget, I have an email from the Just for Laughs people that I wanted to tell you guys about. You've heard me go on and on about new faces. Well, they've posted them on their YouTube channel. Tune in each week to catch 4 new and exciting comedians. Already posted are Derek Stroop, Brittany Schmidt, Maddie Kelly, and it doesn't say who the 4th one is. Let me click. Parker Callahan seems to be the newest one. He was posted 4 hours ago as I record this. So yeah, I would highly encourage you, if you dig what I do here and you listen every day and you've heard me go on about new faces of comedy and you want to watch some different faces, go to the YouTube page Just for Laughs and you'll see these here under the videos tab. I'm going to bookmark that to get to it. Although I've barely played formerly FIFA and I've barely played Starfield and now the NHL video game is out, plus there's football 3 nights a week. I don't know when I'm watching these things. Chloe Trost had been named one of JFL's new faces of comedy. Is anyone else's entire family texting incessantly as you're trying to record your podcast? Because that's what's happening to me. I've had to stop and throw my phone out the window, and now I'm trying to remember how to tell the Mac to take a nap. I think I'm good here. Guys, Dad's recording. Try and explain that to your family. Where were we? Trost has been named one of JFL's new faces of comedy, included in a group of comedians in the category of characters. Trost is known to embody the character Pepper Slit at comedy shows, who she describes on Instagram as the living relic of the Broadway stage and the silver screen. As for SNL, in case you were wondering, Actors Union SAG-AFTRA remains on strike, but SNL's cast members and hosts who are members of the union are okay to work on the show because the show is covered under a different contract, the so-called network code that also covers talk shows and unscripted productions. SAG-AFTRA put out a statement saying the cast of SNL are not in violation of SAG-AFTRA strike rules, and we support them in fulfilling their contractual obligations. The Because They're Funny Comedy Festival in Washington, D.C. wraps up tonight. Yvonne Orji is the host of DMV Black Comedy Homecoming. That's at the Anthem. The lineup includes Tommy Davidson, Donnell, Rawlings, and one-time D.C. mayoral candidate Red Grant. Yvonne told the Washington Post she remembers shows like Def Comedy Jam or Comic View, and we were able to see comics of color rise. When opportunities and visibility like that go away, then you're seeing the ones who get plucked out of the fray, the lucky ones. Something like this, you can really see these people are talented. Yvonne loves at DC and said, when I did my tour at the DC Improv, it was electric, but then they're also like, nah, make us laugh for real. So you can't get one over on them just because you think you're funny. The audience is not to be played with, so you got to respect that. There's hometown love. But the folks who are taking the red line, the blue line, they're coming from work. They're still in their suits. They need a laugh at the end of the day. They want to know this extra trip outside of work was worth it. When that bottle network at McPherson Square happens, they're like, if I'm coming out, please make us laugh. DC humor there. And Yvonne was asked about the whole comedy embellishing thing, Hassan Minhaj Gate. What does she think about that? And she says, I think most people understand with comedy that there's embellishment, right? I could speak for myself when my mom is like, what is this thing you say about me? I didn't say that. And her answer, well, Mom, I took the spirit of what you said and I added to it or talked about it in a way where in my mind, I'm interpreting how I envision you saying it. Maybe the difference in comedy is people are being endeared to you. Nicole Byer is taping a crowd work special tonight at Comedy on State in Madison, Wisconsin. Gary Goldman's not going to like that. In case you're missing out on that joke, I did a story a week ago back, where Gary Goldman commented on crowd work. So that's what that joke is, and I'm going to keep using it. John, you didn't do the vulture list. I know. How long do you want the podcast to be today? It's a Sunday, I think I'll save it for tomorrow. We got football to watch. That's your comedy news for today. Follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your shows. See you tomorrow.